90% of people who start learning guitar quit within their first year. And in 2026, with millions of tutorials, shorts, and this is the only way to learn guitar videos, it's easier than ever to become super overwhelmed and quit even faster. But friend, you are not going to become one of the 90%, because today I'll reveal my 3 strategies on how to stay motivated, how to get good fast, and how to actually enjoy the process of learning guitar. But I will warn you, this only works if you implement every single tip that I'll give you in this video. So make sure to follow along and don't skip ahead. Let's start with tip number 1, the fun first formula. Because my friends, the traditional way of learning guitar was brutal. It was learn music theory, then learn the C major scale, sit up straight, and don't even think of smiling unless you've mastered the G major chord. Quite literally the fastest way to kill your desire to play. And the biggest reason beginners quit playing the guitar is simple. Practice feels like a chore. It feels like homework, and nobody wants to do homework after a long day at work or school, right? So in 2026, you need to flip the script. Prioritize fun, because the moment you enjoy playing, your progress will explode without you even realizing it. Question, but Natasha, how do we do this? Good question. Let me tell you my 3-step plan to do this. First of all, ignore the curriculum police, and let me tell you what I mean by that. There is no perfect first song that you should play for maximum progress. Pick songs, riffs, or styles that you love. If you want to learn a Taylor Swift chord progression, learn it. If you want to learn a Metallica riff, learn it. And here's why it works. When you learn songs that you love, your brain releases dopamine. And that dopamine is the fuel that makes you want to pick up the guitar again tomorrow. Do not grind boring scales or music theory unless it actually excites you. The second step of the fun first formula is to gamify your progress. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Use some tools that make you feel like a rock star immediately. Pick a guitar that you actually think sounds cool and looks cool. Just play along to some simple backing tracks on YouTube. When you feel like you're playing in a band, you want to play even more because you can see the fun and joy that music can bring you. In other words, use some tools that make you feel like a guitar player immediately. And the third step of the fun first formula to learn guitar in 2026 in the best way possible is to make sure that your guitar is in a cool place and that your guitar actually also looks cool. Don't play on a piece of wood that you actually think looks kind of crappy, but you want to learn it. No, actually pick something that you really resonate with. Hang it in a cool place in your room. You know, a guitar on a wall looks so much cooler. An additional benefit to this is that you will pick up the guitar way faster because it will be within your arm's reach. Now, keeping it fun is step 1, but you still need a strategy to actually get your hands to work. Stick around because in my next few tips, I'll show you how combining fun and strategy can literally cut your practice time in half. And this brings me to my second tip to make sure that you won't quit the guitar after 1 year, and it's going to be the songs workflow. Because friends, we live in a golden age of information, but also the golden age of confusion. But let me tell you something very reassuring. You don't need an expensive course to learn the guitar. You don't need 20 apps, and you certainly do not need some sort of fancy monthly subscription. What you do need is a healthy workflow that you can use for learning any new song. A workflow that cuts your practice time in half while keeping it fun. So here are the 3 steps I want you to follow when you're learning anything new on the guitar. Step 1, the listening phase. When you want to learn a new song, don't just go looking for the new song. I want you to actively listen to it, hum it, internalize the rhythm. Because if you can't hum it, you can't play it. Your brain needs to know what the destination is going to be before your hands can follow. The second step to the workflow is the tutorial phase. And honestly, this is where a lot of people mess up. Please don't just search for chords and tabs and just try to learn it straight away. Just learning numbers and chords will make it feel very overwhelming and you might just quit and do something else instead. Because here's what I want you to understand. If you just search for chords or tabs online, there is no soul, there is no feeling yet. You can't see the rhythm. Also, if you just see numbers on a line or chords above words, it doesn't really feel like you're playing a cool song. It just becomes very overwhelming, right? So you need an interactive way to learn. If you want to learn the tabs or a cool riff, search for someone who guides you through it, or search for an interactive tab player. And the third and final step to the song's workflow is to make sure that you're combining your senses. Don't just look at the numbers, don't just try to hear it, but really see and listen. I would strongly recommend that you try to learn by watching the hands first, and then if you really don't know what's happening, then go for the tabs. Because activating multiple senses is the quickest way for your brain to pick up and for your fingers to follow. And here's something that I need you to understand. You need to mix the methods. If you only use tabs, you'll sound robotic. If you only watch and listen, you might get frustrated because you don't know what's happening. And if you only watch tutorials, you might become too dependent on the person guiding you. So combining all 3 is how you shortcut years of practice, guaranteed. But all of these tips are completely worthless if you're going to ignore the rest of the video. So make sure to follow along and don't skip ahead. My friends, we have arrived at the third and final way to make sure that you won't quit playing the guitar after 1 year, and that is to beat the burnout curve. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Let's get real for a second. Here's the timeline of basically every guitar player in the first year. Phase 1, I just got a guitar. It looks really cool. I'm gonna be a rock star in no time. I'm gonna impress everyone, even my crush. Phase 2. My fingers hurt. My arm actually also hurts. How to hold the thing? I don't know how to coordinate these fast chord changes. Ugh, I don't know. Phase 3. I'm gonna learn my first bar chord today. Wait, it sounds like a dying cat. You know, screw this, it's been going wrong this whole time. I'm not getting better, but worse. Friends, this is the hump. This is where 90% of people quit at phase 3. And here's why it happens. You're seeing progress as a straight line. So the moment you practice, you automatically become better no matter what. While in reality, progress is like a staircase. So you go up a little bit and then you plateau. And during this plateau stage, your muscle memory is learning, is processing, and other stuff in your life also interferes and gets in the way. Then you go up again, and then you plateau, and then you go up. But friends, no hope is lost because I'll show you exactly how to start climbing stairs and how to survive phase 3. The first step is to schedule smartly. You need to stop relying only on motivation. Motivation is an emotion, a feeling, and it comes and goes, like all emotions and feelings. You need to rely on discipline instead, because consistency beats intensity every single time. It's better to have short, consistent practice sessions than to do everything in one go. So don't learn 7 hours and then not for a month, but learn every day of the month for 7 minutes. So here's how you can integrate consistency in your everyday life. Pick a short time slot every single day that you're committed to practicing the guitar. Maybe it's going to be 7 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. I want you to treat it like a meeting with your boss or with an important person. You wouldn't skip a meeting, so don't skip your guitar practice sessions. And then I want you to commit that time slot to one task. So with one task, I mean strumming, or chords, or learning a riff, or learning a chord progression. But don't try to do everything all at once because it will become way too overwhelming. Step 2 to survive phase 3 and to keep going is to set SMART goals. And with SMART goals, I mean very specific goals. Make sure that your goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Don't just say, I want to get better at playing the guitar. Be specific. Say something like, by next Friday, I want to be able to switch from G to D without having an awkward stop in between. Or something like, in the next 3 days, I'm going to focus only on this song so that I know how to play that song by the end of the week. And the third and final step to make sure that you'll keep playing the guitar, that you'll keep climbing stairs, is to refresh your confidence. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Because one of the biggest reasons that beginner guitar players quit playing is because they think that they cannot do it. When you're frustrated while learning something, stop trying to push it. Go back to something that you already know. Because when you're learning the guitar for the first time, in the first few phases, you need to make sure that you actually believe that you can do it. So you need to remind yourself that you can play the guitar. Because if you lose that confidence, it will become even harder to push through. So make sure that you're constantly refreshing, constantly reminding yourself that you can do something. But I have some good news for you, because did you know that learning the guitar is actually really easy? In the playlist on screen, I'll walk you through the exact roadmap you need to follow to learn hundreds of songs instantly. If that sounds interesting to you, click the playlist on screen and let's learn more together. I'll see you there.